Here we have the finished bike. I completed the bike in week 12. And starting this bike, I began with the frame, bending each of these bars here up to the front, this one here, then this top bar, and down here. These bars here, these two here, were bent at the same angle. They're the same bar. They're two separate bars but bent at the same angle. Bending this top bar, as you can see, this angle here, it's at 180 degrees. So I decided to heat this bar and bend it around the steel shaft to give me an accurate curve. I could have also cold formed it as I did with the rest of the bars. So if you look at any of the rest of these bars here, this one, this one, this one, any of these bars you look at, they're all done cold form, just bent in a vise or in the pipe benders. After making the steel frame, I moved on to my rake angle. Now the rake angle, if you look in, this is my rake angle here. Just the way forward. So the angle that this bar here creates is your rake angle to the ground. Now my rake angle was large. It was, so the centres between the wheels are 700, and this meant my suspension was going to be a little bit different than the standard suspension. So these bars here had to be made longer, and these here were made a little bit longer as well. There's springs inside these here for the suspension, as you can see the suspension here. Now after making my suspension bars, I moved on to making these brass bushes. So I've these here, and then down here I had a nylon bushing in between these two brass bushes here and here. Holding the suspension bars together are these two straps here with the diameter hole drilled up through them, and they're tightened here with a screw and a nut. Same down here, tightened here with a screw and inside a nut. Now, once I had my suspension and frame made, rake angle complete, I decided to move on to mounting my engine. So this bike is fully functional. It starts and can be driven by a person. Looking underneath here a little bit, if you look in here now, we can just see where the engine is mounted. So we've one mount here, and at the far side, you see there now, we have another mount here and one on the inside. Mounting the engine it's okay, but it's aligning the back chain. So aligning the back sprocket with the sprocket on the engine is the difficult part. If we look along there now, you can just see that the chain on the sprocket and the chain and the sprocket on the engine are all in line. If these are not in line, your chain will jump off. After that, I moved on to my seat. So the seat is made from leatherette cushion and a timber base. As you can see below, the seat is mounted by wedging it in between the two bars. So you can see the timbers, the way they're wide at the back and narrow at the front, and as we slide it down into the bike, it tightens up. Now, so doing this, the seat made with two timber bases, and as you can see, my seat angles up. So I had to put a strap on here, and inside there's another strap, L-shaped, which stops the timber from moving back or forth. After the seat was made, I moved on to the making of this piece, my etching. Now, as you can see, the overall theme of the bike is Red Bull. The etching was left in the batt for 17 to 20 minutes until I was happy with the depth it took out of my brass piece. These guys here are soldered, so if you look along the edge here, you can see the soldering down along here to mount these straps onto my edged piece, so I could mount it onto the back of the bike here and here. So after my edge piece, we moved on to the tank, and I'll just take off the tank. Left there. The tank is representing the wings. So if you look back along here, and same at the far side, it's the Red Bull wings. Now these were taken out with a number of different cutting tools in the product design lab, using files, and there was a lot of sanding went into getting the two sides symmetrical. You can also see the colour choice in the tank shows the red and blue for the Red Bull team. So once I had my tank done, I made up bushes for the front and back wheels. Now these were important because as soon as I was having my bike running, the wheels had to be perfectly in line so the bike would be driving straight. You can see here the brass bushes here, the far side, and at the back. So these brass bushes were done on the milling machine and the lathe. After the wheels, I moved on to my exhaust. So my exhaust is TIG welded along here, as you can see, to give it this angle where the exhaust comes out the side of the bike here. So it comes down, around and out the side. This is where I want my exhaust positioned. After the exhaust was done, I moved on to getting my bike functioning. So as we can see here, we have a petrol tank. Coming out of the petrol tank, we have a feed pipe for the carburetor, and down here we have our on off for petrol, that white switch. This is where we put in our petrol. So now I was happy that I had my petrol tank on the bike, two wheels on the front and back aligned, chain aligned, and over here I have my throttle. So then I got the bike running, and I noticed there was a safety issue with the chain here. So I made up this guard. So this guard will protect your foot from hitting the chain. This is done out on the laser cutter. It's made from 6mm acrylic. And moving on after that, we have our footsteps. So these footsteps were made out of brass. They're knurled on the blade along the bottom, and at the top here we have a flat surface taken off with the milling machine. After this, all these welds on the frame are done with a MIG welder. Let me see over here. So I had 3 different jointing processes on the bike. Up here I have soldering, or brazing, not soldering. So this function here, this method up here is called brazing, and down here we have TIG welding. Now the front wheel was sprayed blue, the back wheel red, just to give a colour contrast for the Red Bull team. Over here we have a brake lever, and on the back you can see the fully functioning brake caliper and brake disc. Here's the pull start for the bike. So there's lots of room to pull straight out here. There's nothing in your way up along here. It's nice and free for your hand. So that's my completed bike. Then this is just the stand, as you can see underneath. A piece of solid wood with 2 steel tubes coming up either side. Slot taken out with the milling machine just to fit into this round bar. It's nice and simple just to hold the bike in place.